who's not watching one of those mechanisms is just at their own house, participating via GoToWebinar from their computer or your cell phone. During the hearing, if you wish to speak, please press the raise hand function on your device. We'll get to your testimony as well. So with that, I'd like to now turn over to Sally Smedick from Commercial Corridors, and she'll walk through the proposal. I just want to thank Sally and her colleagues for being so thoughtful and making sure that we were providing multiple methods of avenue for people to be able to provide input on this proposal.
All right, well, thank you, Sam. So I am Sally Smedick. I am for a BC Corridors team. I'm working closely with the Lindsay Heisenberg organizing team to ensure that the legal compliance is met. That is our main role as a Commercial Corridors team to manage the 9 existing neighborhood improvements and 29 existing business improvement districts and ensure each year that they meet their legal compliance requirements. So this first slide just goes over a few differences between bids and NIDs, mostly just as a refresher for everyone. The main differences are that NIDs can assess any taxable properties, while bids are only allowed to assess commercial properties and the commercial portion of mixed-use properties. So that's an important distinction. And then in addition, all NID board members must own or occupy property in the district. So on the next slide, this goes over the full creation process. I have some details for each step to share with you. The first step, creating the NID formation infrastructure, involves establishing a property owner support committee, contacting our department, the Commercial Corridor with the Commercial Corridor team and planning to obtain a database for all the properties within the boundaries. Next, for the consensus building and education step, the NID organizers must conduct property and neighborhood owner focus groups and informational meetings that emphasize communications and outreach, as well as informing the local alderperson of the potential NID creation. Next, they work to develop the operating plan, specifically identifying the concerns and projects to be addressed, develop the assessment methodology, which is the cost to the property owners, and then taking that and the database of property owners to understand what the total assessment amount will be. That will inform the budget for the NID operations, and then establishing the board composition. Then once they're able to develop that initial operating plan, they meet with property owners and stakeholders to review that operating plan. They also meet with our team to review that and make sure that everything's in at its initial compliance. And then they end up submitting that final plan to the attorney's office for their legal opinion, which then is used to petition the property owners and residents and collect petition signatures. That would be step 5 of the petition campaign. And then once the petition signatures are there, then an official opinion letter comes from the city attorney stating that the operating plan meets those legal requirements. And we publish a class 2 notice and mail the hearing notice and operating plan by certified mail to all property owners within the proposed district. So that brings us up to today. The first public hearing for the NID creation is the City Plan Commission. That's where the public hearing happens. That's why we have so many residents and property owners joining us today. The next step, should this move forward, would be going to the Community and Economic Committee of the Common Council. That is scheduled for Wednesday. That is June 29th. And then after that, goes to the full council for their approval, which is preliminarily scheduled for July 28th, and then to the mayor for his approval. So that is where I will leave it, and I will hand it over to Cassandra Flagg here. A couple more slides, I guess, before I hand it over. The map here with the boundaries, I really just wanted to include this so all the commissioners have the visual in front of them. Boundaries are from North 20th Street to the west, 6th Street to the east, Locust Street to the north, and Walnut Street to the south. And those are excluding the properties that are within the North Avenue Marketplace Bid 52. And I believe the next couple of slides, we don't need to focus too much. The assessment methodology is within the operating plan that everyone should have received. It's proposed at $50 per dwelling unit, and that maxes out at $2,500, and then a $25 charge for vacant land. That is where I will pass it to Cassandra. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Cassandra Flagg, and I'm here representing Walnut Way for the Lindsay Heights Neighborhood Improvement District. For the first slide is basically telling you a little bit about Walnut Way. Walnut Way was established in 2000. It's about a 21-year-old community-based organization, and the residents, or I should say the area, is a very connected and resilient neighborhood. It's for the page of the presentation. A little bit more about Walnut Way's approaches to how they connect the community. It works as a convener of resources and people to gather information and opportunities for the neighborhood in the Lindsay Heights area. We operate in a 110 square block radius with the ethnicity 98% African American, with an annual income of around $25,000 a year. Excuse me. The Lindsay Heights Housing and Economic Development Plan started from a resident-led initiative around 2014. The plan has just been completed, excuse me, July 2020. Completed July of 2020, excuse me. And from that resident-led economic and housing development plan came the top thing. From that was to develop a neighborhood improvement district. We also created, in the Lindsay Heights area, there's the entrepreneur and small business development and financial building, financial and education building within the comprehensive area plan. It's also very big on community wealth building from the community wealth building program and initiative in Lindsay Heights. A taste of Lindsay Heights Cafe has been created, and also with the housing and commercial development, it's the Milwaukee Community Land Trust that was created out of the Lindsay Heights resident or neighborhood as well. So with the neighborhood improvement district process, we have held and will continue to hold monthly implementation meetings. We do those the last Wednesday of every month. We have been having meetings on this topic for over 2 years now. We have developed a Native Advisory Committee, and from that Native Advisory Committee, we've also developed a Lindsay Heights Governance Board. And to confirm the Native boundaries, they are just as Sally stated, 6 on the east, 20th on the west, Locust on the north, and then Walnut on the south. We have done a petition with resident support. We did the petitioning for, I would say, maybe about 6 months or so, doing door-to-door outreach as well as holding meetings. Even during COVID, we had meetings in the garden at Walnut Way in person. We've also had 2 town halls via Zoom, and we continue to hold information sessions again every month and do lunch and learns. We have held lunch and learns in Lindsay Heights at Walnut Way offices to provide more information moving forward with the establishment of the meeting. The governance structure again is handled by the head of the Native Advisory Committee. So you have a team that person has a team of individuals that they have been meeting with or had been meeting with at a cafe in the Lindsay Heights area to provide the training and the structure for the governance of the NID moving forward. And the development of the NID operating plan again has been submitted about a month and a half ago. There's another slide. And I think that's it.
Okay, is there anyone else that is going to be presenting on this item?
So that's the formal presentation. So now it would be up to the commission if you want to ask questions of the organizers first or begin to take the public testimony.
Okay. Well, I guess I would, let's start with the commissioners. Commissioners, do you have any questions for your organizers of the proposal? And I know that you may have questions after we hear some of the testimony on this item. So I would suggest that, well, first of all, Commissioner Washington, did you want to say anything initially here?
I did, but you can finish your statement first, wait.
No, I'm just going to give some overview before we go into the public testimony.
Yeah, feel free to, and I can ask my question after you're done. I didn't want you to lose your thought.
No, I won't. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Wanda, Way 2018 for this presentation. I think if I heard correctly that this process has been going on for a couple of years now, and I'm just wondering if you could speak to some of the attendance for those who have been part of this lengthy process that you've been doing. So I know you've been doing community meetings, you've been doing virtual meetings, but I would just love to hear how some of those meetings have been going as your constituents, neighbors, residents, and the like have been made aware of this very robust plan that you try to bring forth for approval.
Well, again, as you just stated, we have held multiple meetings in person, and during COVID, we did have two in-person meetings in the Lindsay Heights garden. And then we have held virtual meetings around the development or establishment of the meetings since, I want to say early 2000. And we definitely have the support of Alderman Stanford, who has attended multiple meetings, as well as members of the DCD, Kid Little, Sally, and Nathaniel as well. And we have had, I would say, at least 25, 30 meetings around the establishment of the Neighborhood Improvement District for Lindsay Heights. And for the most part, most of the meetings, if not all of them, were well attended. We had residents at every.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'm wondering, did you keep like attendance? So over 25 meetings well attended, is that several hundred people have been touched since these meetings have been happening? I'm just wondering if you can give us an estimate of what type of buy-in has been occurring for those that will be affected by this approval.
I don't have an exact number of how many people have been touched. I can tell you the multiple ways that we have done outreach. We've done them again in person. We've done them virtually. We've done door-to-door contact. We have went to businesses in the area as well as other nonprofit organizations such as SBC to leave pamphlets and information to steer the residents towards Walnut Way for more information around the Neighborhood Improvement District, as well as leaving contact information on any and all information that goes out.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So thank you all for being here, and thank you to organizers for all of your work putting together this neighborhood improvement district. and the process that you have taken all along to get where we are here today. So I'm going to thank everyone for their patience in this process today. We have, this unusual situation where we're part virtual, part in person, and so forth, and we have limited time, of course, and most important, we want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to discuss their concerns and ask their questions about the proposal of this bid. So what I'm going to suggest is that we take it step by step. And in the beginning, I will ask everyone that wants to present that, if you have heard something been said before, you want to keep that, those comments targeted and concise, that would be much appreciated. But we are so happy that you're all here. So what I suggest is that we start with the people in the room at the CPC boardroom, and we take their testimony first, and then from there we go to the all of the people there who I see from Walnut, who are at Walnut Lane. So if that works for you, then after that we'll go to the people that are online that wish to give comments. So if that works for you, Mr. Lee, I would ask you to start with the people in the room, to calling their names.
Okay, this is for in-person public testimony. There are a number of people in the room and also in the overflow room. So I'll call the first people on deck. First person is J. Allen Stokes, followed by Ella Dunbar and Phil Hutchins. J. Allen Stokes.
Okay, we'd like to welcome J. Allen back to the CPC. So nice to see you there.
Madam Chairman, other commissioners, it's a pleasure to be here today. I'm here today representing Inner City Redevelopment Corporation. Inner City Redevelopment Corporation has 54 units of affordable housing in this neighborhood, a $6 million investment. We've been in this neighborhood since 1994. When our first development, our second development was 1996. So we've been in this neighborhood for 28 years. And as well as that, I've talked to Antonio, and I know the work that Warner Wade and Lindsay Heights has done. So I'm in full support of this neighborhood development. And I also know that, from the work that we had to do to get this neighborhood in Harambe, the good work that's been able to do, this provides an opportunity for people who fall through the cracks, that gives them an opportunity to get some grants to help them with their housing development. So I'm just here to say that I'm in full support.
Thank you so much, Jay Allen, and great to see you here today.
Good to see you too.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners, staff, and guests. My name is Ella Dunbar. I'm the Community Outreach Manager at the Social Development Commission at 1730 West North Avenue, located in Lindsay Heights. SDC supports the efforts of the Walnut Way Conservation Corp. in the development of a neighborhood investment district NEAD project. A NEAD will support the residents in the Lindsay Heights neighborhood with projects such as making repairs around their homes that they perhaps otherwise may not be able to afford on their own. I've been attending the NEAD planning meetings and providing technical support from my experience and being a part of the startup of the Garden Homes NEAD. The services and programs of the Social Development Commission, especially our residential services program, could be helpful for residents in the NEAD as well as outside the NEAD. Having the NEAD program would bring decision-making to residents on projects they think are needed in their neighborhood. That would improve neighborhood engagement, communication among neighbors, and empower residents. Your approval of this NEAD is needed. Thank you.
Bill Hutchins, do you wish to speak?
Yes, I will speak. Good afternoon. I just have a simple question. To what extent are you able to provide assistance in home improvement? Having a roof, furnace, and or is that through existing CD program? Or how will this improvement district address those issues?
Well, for the,
Can you come to the next slide?
Hold on,
Oh, sorry.
Christine, yes, if you would come to the microphone and also when you do, please reintroduce yourself. Thank you.
thank you. My name is Cassandra Flagg. Thank you. Representing Runaway and one of the organizers and coordinator of the Lindsay Heights Neighborhood Improvement District. And with the Neighborhood Improvement District, with those first year assessment fees, I believe they were somewhere around 150,000 or so, 160. We have set aside 60% of those assessments to go for home repairs. And the other portion of that will be for youth programming and neighborhood beautification, such as landscaping, signs, lighting for safety.
So I take it that there are existing programs within PCD to address what I percentage out of.
Joe, do you want us to answer those, or do you want us to save all of them for the end to respond?
You know what, we're right here with that, so I think you could answer briefly, but, and then we'll see how it goes. But, I do know that there are other programs, for home repair, and again, want to just detail a couple of them, or at least, let let them know where to go to seek more information on this.
Thank you, Cheryl. Yeah, and I won't get in depth about city home improvement programs, just to clarify one thing, in case this is what was maybe underlying your question. If it is created, that funding is administered by the NID, separate from any city programs. So the existing city programs will continue. This doesn't, none of this funding flows to the city. It stays within the NID for use in that neighborhood, and the city continues to operate our program using the regular city funding sources. And we can connect after if you want any details about existing city programs.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Next person, please.
Next, couple people on deck, Robert Wotapika, Monte Harris, and Devin Mitchell.
I have no questions. I'm sorry, I was signing.
So, if you don't wish to speak, state as such. Robert, do you wish to speak?
I do not wish to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Monte Harris, do you wish to speak?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Devin Mitchell, do you wish to speak? If not, going on. Valerie Griffin, do you wish to speak?
I do not.
Hercules Brown, do you wish to speak again?
I do not.
Jesse Filter, do you wish to speak?
Yes.
Okay, please step up.
Okay, and then Mr. Lee, if you could just, let us know who the next three are so that they can be prepared after.
The next three, if you wish to speak, Dalvin Howard, Tressa Wright, and Joyce L. Wagner.
Thank you.
Jesse Salter.
Hi, my name is Jesse Susan, and I just heard of this program maybe about a month ago. They wrote me, and I was trying to find out how I work, how I get the funds, who I call, and who I contact, and so they let me know how to go about it. That's basically, I can start.
I'm sorry, could you restate your concerns?
Cheryl, he was asking who to talk to, and he's now connecting with Cassandra offline. So I think that addressed his question.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Lee, who's next up?
Sure. Dalvin Howard, you wish to speak?
He just left, so, he does not.
Process right.
Hi, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Traces, Trasus, right? WRIS. I'm a Lindsay Heights resident, live at 1103 West Garfield, been here for about 25 years. I'm speaking on behalf of the residents at this point. We have, and Cassandra made some points, and those were all part of what's going on, but there's several other things that are occurring. Residents have been engaged, and what the NID has done has engaged our neighbors. So what I want to talk briefly about is some of the outcomes. So just this past Saturday, we had about 50 residents that gathered for a gospel festival or prayer gathering at 17th and Montague. And if you drive through or know that area, there's a lot of illegal traffic going on. And one resident that's engaged in the area sometimes is a little bit concerned about her safety because the people in the area that are doing the illegal activity kind of look at her thinking she's calling the police, when in fact it's probably other residents that's doing that. So we're trying to engage our neighbors to get involved positively to offset some of the negative things that are occurring. The other outcome is that we started a 90-day health and wellness challenge. We meet every day in Lindsay Heights Park doing walking and biking. We have residents that have got out and been able to improve their health. We meet every Tuesday, so I invite any commissioner or the chair to come there at 6 o'clock. We've had the aldermen come out, and we've had Commissioner Crump, Lafayette Crump came out to the meeting. We addressed the land trust when they were coming out asking the aldermen for some money to support the Milwaukee Land Trust. So we're very engaged in our neighborhood. So one of the things that our neighbors are doing, some of the residents you see in the room, and they'll speak for themselves, is that we have gotten involved to the point where, like, some of the people here are asking about how the need could benefit them. And some of the residents, we had some conversation that after this meeting, we're considering, and we haven't got a final on it because I have to survey with the members, of staffing the Lindsay Heights, the Waterway office. This is not staffed by Waterway staff. Waterway has allowed the residents to use the first floor of the facility there. And we're staffing. We have our own calendar set up with all activities. Anybody can walk in and see that. What's taking place is that there's a lot of questions that people have, and they don't really know how the NID is going to work. We're in the process of determining how the governance is going to take place. We're encouraging people who want to participate in the governance and be part of the board to be very public. We don't want this board to be an anonymous board where people have to search to find out who's in charge and who's making the decisions. One of the things that we've also said that we want to make the decisions in our own neighborhood. We don't want people that don't live in the neighborhood to make the decisions for us that live in the neighborhood. So to that end, we're meeting every Tuesday with residents to connect and address the things that are challenging that we're trying to address. The last thing I want to mention, as a result of us coming together, we started to have conversations around what we would like our neighborhood to look like. And I asked residents to say, can you imagine what our neighborhood would look like if there was a $50 million investment? And $50 million would help with housing. People talk about reckless driving. I say the solution is housing. People talk about drug dealing. I say, well, the solution is housing. People talk about single moms. I say, well, the solution is housing. Because if we have housing, then people invest in the neighborhood, they get out and pick up the paper, they talk to their neighbors, they're there every year. Renters, we love to have them, but typically renters are there maybe a year or two, and they may not necessarily invest into the upkeep of the neighborhood. So we're looking to work with the people who are property owners to get their residents engaged in some of the things that we're doing. And the last thing that I would say is that I want to thank all of the residents for participating, attending the meetings that we've had. And this work that we're doing has been going on intensely since October of the past year. And we've been meeting every Tuesday since the first of the year. And anybody can stop in a meeting and talk with us. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wright, for all of your great work in the community. And we will let Ms. Cassandra Flagg respond to those questions or comments as appropriate after we are done with the people in the room, if that's okay with you. Who's up next, please?
Sure. Due to a request, we're going to have Latasha Doyle come next, followed by Joyce L. Wagner, and then Reverend Anthony Smith, if he wishes to speak.
Okay, next up.
So Latasha Doyle.
Welcome, Ms. Doyle.
Hi. Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to speak about the alleys, dumping, and the garbage. The garbage people, when they give people garbage, I guess sometimes they be doing it real fast, and if they drop something, they will leave it there. And the other thing was dumping in people, yards and in the back of their houses that people do. And most times it's not the people that stay on the block. They be who knows where. And I know the other guy earlier was saying about the rodents. Maybe everybody in different areas might not have that problem, but the dumping and when the garbage people get the garbage, that's all I wanted to say. That's a big problem because they don't pick that up. They just, they just leave it there. And I don't think people that, come through the alley looking for places to dump, it be all type of stuff, in people's yards and, back of their houses and stuff like that. I don't know, not sure what y'all was actually talking about that. I probably didn't catch all of it, but that's a big problem, and I just wanted to say something about that. And I don't know if y'all talked about that or doing something about that or what.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Doyle. And we will let the organizers of the NID to respond to that just in a little bit. And also, to make sure that you are communicating those concerns to your alderman. This is sounds like a huge problem, not only for public safety, but for all kinds of issues. So thank you for bringing that concern here today. Thank you. And who's next up?
Joyce L. Wagner.
Yes, I'm Joyce Elwanger. I've lived in the Lindsay Heights neighborhood for 55 years. I'm past treasurer of the Lindsay Heights, Lindsay Heights Community Planning Council, and I'm the secretary of the Hephatha Micah Holy Ground Core Team at Hephatha Lutheran Church, 1704 West Locust. We're on the very north end of Lindsay Heights. We're a group of neighbors and neighborhood associations such as the Cole Parents Leading, Strong Baby Sanctuary, Hopkins Lloyd Community School, and a couple of small businesses on the blocks around our church. Our purpose is to rebuild a strong and healthy community block by block. So I'm here to speak in support of the Lindsay Heights NID. We're on the northern border of Lindsay Heights and straddle two aldermanic districts, and we're kind of in between Lindsay Heights and Amani in terms of neighborhood groups that are involved. We applaud the development that's taken place in Lindsay Heights to the south of our part of the neighborhood. The NID will give expanded opportunities to homeowners where we live, many of them elderly residents who really do need help to be able to stay in the neighborhood. and to keep their homes and we have one alley that has no lights whatsoever. And we've been working with the police in regard to that. We are an area that's been neglected in the past and where some of the challenges are the greatest. I think that says it all for us, but let me say it one more time. The NIB will give expanded opportunities to homeowners where we are on the northern end of Lindsay Heights, an area that's been neglected in the past and where some challenges are the greatest. Thank you.
Next up, Reverend Anthony Smith, do you wish to speak? If not, Victor Coleman, do you wish to speak? Otis Grace?
No.
Okay, that will complete the in-person sign up. We can go to the virtual.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So next we are going to, there were some concerns that were brought up in the in-person, let's just move to the Walnut Way. So next up, we have a very organized group, it looks like, of folks who would like to speak from Walnut Way. So I will turn it over to you, and just for consistency's sake, please make sure that you state your name and where you are from to introduce yourself before you speak. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. I'm Ken Little, Neighborhood Business Development Manager, Department of State Development, Commercial Corridor Team. And I'm here at Walnut Way with a group that is here. We have 8 individuals that are in the room with us, and I'll list their names. Marcel Eccles, who is here in favor of the NID, but does not wish to speak. We have Monica Hubbard, who is here in favor of the NID and does not wish to speak. Maria Beltran, who's in favor of the NID, but does not wish to speak. Maggie Del Truss, who is here in favor of the NID and does not wish to speak. Keith Wallace is here in favor of the NID, and he does not wish to speak. Sharon Cheney is present, also in favor of the NID and does not wish to speak. Marie Gordon, in favor of the NID, does not wish to speak. Finally, Shamika Smith, who is also in favor of the NID and does not wish to speak. So we hope that makes it nice and easy and simple for everyone.
And Chairwoman, before you move on to testimony from other online individuals, we do have an elected official who just joined in person and would like to speak when appropriate.
Oh, sorry. Certainly. First of all, thank you all from everyone that's here from Walnut Way. Mr. Little, is there anyone that would like to speak for the group at Walnut Way, or?
Yeah, we do have one person who would like to speak, and I need to come over. It's right, and actually they can hear you.
Do it right from there.
Okay. You go one, three, let's see if I can hear you. Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
Yes, I can.
We can switch here. Okay, come on. All right, good afternoon, Madam Chair. My name is Richard Diaz. I serve as the Community Planning Council President for Lindsay Heights. And I would just like to voice my vote of support. Lindsay Heights has been through a very rough, few years, last 10 years, 20 years. Pioneer, a strong woman business leader, and we hope to follow in her legacy with this neighborhood improvement district. A goal of the CPC is to become sheerly resident-led and resident-driven as it was intended. So forming the NID and the governance structure will help CPC achieve its goals and help improve some of the social determinants of health in the Lindsay Heights neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so thank you all for being here and, to see you all. So it's great to have you virtual in this meeting. Next up will be the other people that are appearing here online. Is there anyone else that we should speak? Mr. Lee, would you please ask the question?
There is one more person that's in person. If you would like to have that person go.
Certainly. Why don't you, okay, well, let's do that and then we'll move to my portion.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Good afternoon to the members of Walnut Way. I can see y'all on the screen here. I'm State Representative Supreme Moral Makunde, and prior to serving as the representative of the 17th Assembly District, I served on the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors as the supervisor of the then 10th District, which includes Lindsay Heights, and I lived in Lindsay Heights. And prior to becoming elected, I was a community organizer with Sherman Park Community Association, where we established a neighborhood improvement district in Sherman Park. And it was one of the most challenging, however, one of the most rewarding things that I was ever a part of as an organizer or as an adult, period. And many of the challenges that Lindsay Heights faced as opposed to development without displacement, as well as community control, many of those things can be remedied with the neighborhood improvement district. And I'm really proud of the work that has gone into this, much of the work that is going into this, because not only do I know the commitment that residents in Walnut Way and others have, but I also know how much work it takes to actually put it together. And so I want to applaud the residents of Lindsay Heights and CPC and everyone here today. And also I want to make sure that I was here to show my support. I was coming in from another event, and I want to make sure that I came here today to show my support for Neighborhood Improvement District. I think it's vital and critical. One of the things that I always said that if I ever lived in a neighborhood, I wouldn't want to live in one that didn't have a NID. And if it didn't have a NID, I would want to be a part of starting one. And so I was glad to offer some initial advice when I knew that the NID was putting together when I did live in Lindsay Heights on 15th and Brown. I was able to offer some words, and I'm glad to see it come to fruition today. And I want to throw my 100 full support behind Lindsay Heights Neighborhood Improvement District. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you, Representative Seymour today for being here today. Great to see you, and your support is registered in support of the NID. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move to the online people that would like to speak on this item. Mr. Lee, would you please ask a question?
Sure. At this time, we are taking virtual testimony. If you wish to speak, those who are in attendance virtually, please press the raise hand button. So calling first, who did register early, is Stephen Adams. Stephen Adams, did you wish to speak? Let me just.
What I'm going to ask Mr. Lee is if you would go through the first 3 or 4, and then we can make sure that people are ready to speak when their turn is.
Sure. So Stephen Adams, followed by Delbert Utsey and Emonia Barnett. So first up, Stephen Adams.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Right, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. Allow me to give a brief presentation in support of the Neighborhood Improvement District. Again, Stephen Adams, 1733 North 17th Street. My wife and I have been a resident in this area for 18 years. We actually built our home from scratch on a vacant lot, and have faced all the stuff that you got to do to be part of healthy revitalization effort, which has been going on in this area for at least 20 years.